You're listening to the Bloodshed Baddies. Hi, I'm Lex.
And I'm Sam.
And we are the Bloodshed Baddies.
Back at it, baddies.
Hey, baddies.
So, what have you been up to, Lex? Because we've had the Arctic tundra. We missed a week of recording. Tell the baddies what's up. What's new?
Yeah, well, we missed a week of recording mostly because of me. Actually, exclusively because of me. So the last week and a half of my life have been literally insane. On not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, a ice storm came through Nashville, and 90% of the county I live in lost power. 90%.
Which is so terrible.
And it was below freezing temperatures. It was, I think the highs were like 6 at night.
Ooh.
And luckily, I did not lose power. Dustin lost power. But that same night that the winter ice storm hit, I got the flu or COVID or something and was deathly ill for 3 days straight. Like the sickest I've ever been in my adult life. Dustin still does not have power till this day, a week and a half later.
That's wild.
So he had the girls last weekend. So the girls came and stayed at my house for the weekend. And it's just been a wild ride where I haven't had a moment to breathe.
She's thriving, everybody.
I'm thriving. This is such a good week and a half for me.
Luckily, hopefully you can chill this weekend. What are your plans? Super Bowl?
Super Bowl, yes. And Dustin's team, the Seahawks, are in the Super Bowl. So he's like literally going crazy. So he's very excited.
That is very exciting for him. What are you guys doing for it?
Our friends are having a party.
Fun.
What have you been up to in my, because I've barely talked to you in the last week and a half.
I know.
Because I've been dying.
We logged on. I'm like, oh my God, how are you? And we talked for like 20 minutes before we even started this podcast. But I have been good. Just my crazy busy life being crazy busy. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's just crazy busy. But it's also been cold in Florida. So like one day we got a text, well, like from our, what is that called? Electric and water people. And they were like, you need to let your faucets drip, which is like
wow.
wild. Yeah, when I woke up for work, it was like 17 degrees or something insane.
I didn't know it got that cold.
It got very cold.
I really have been dead.
So trying to stay warm. And then everyone's always like, you're from Michigan, you should be used to this. But I'm like, it's been a while. My body has acclimated.
Oh no, I've acclimated to the South so hardcore.
I know, I'm so cold. I'm so a cold baby. And then this weekend, we actually don't have any like crazy set plans for Super Bowl yet, which is wild. You think we would, but
especially with your friend group.
I know. I think maybe just because it's cold and it's like Florida people don't know what to do when it's cold.
Fair enough.
So that's my life in a nutshell, baddies. Hopefully, you guys are living a little more than me and Lex are.
Let's hope. One can hope.
But just getting out of the sickness, just getting out of Arctic tundra, it's a Lex case today.
Woo-hoo! I'm actually doing something very different today, baddies.
Yay.
So, as you know, if you've listened to the last 2 episodes that we've done, I've been obsessed with faking your death. Like literally obsessed with it.
That's really where Lexi was the past 2 weeks. She tried to fake her death.
Faking my death. No one believed it. No, so yeah, it started with that one case I did where she disappeared on 9/11, and one of the theories was that she faked her death. And then I read that book about faking her death, and then Sam did DB Cooper, and I've just been really obsessed with it. So today we're going to talk about Michael Jackson.
I am so, so excited for this one. It's unbelievable. It's going to be a thriller.
Stop it. That was so bad. I loved it. Okay, so Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29th, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, to Catherine and Joseph Jackson. He was the seventh of nine children and was raised in a house filled with music. And almost from the very beginning, it was clear that Michael wasn't just talented, he was different. At 5 years old, he was already performing with his older brothers in what would become the Jackson Five. By the time most kids were learning multiplication tables, Michael was learning choreography, harmonies, and how to command a stage.
Yeah, he was.
Motown signed the group, and the family ended up moving to Los Angeles. And childhood for Michael was basically over at that point. By the early 1970s, he started to step out on his own and was started releasing solo albums while he was performing with his brothers. And then in 1979, he released Off the Wall, which was his first true solo breakthrough. It won 5 American Music Awards and a Grammy. And then in 1982, he releases Thriller.
Yes. Also, very sad that his childhood was like dunzo. And like people are coming forward now about child stars. I can't imagine things that,
Happened and he went through. Yeah.
yes, which is so terrible. But also, like, good on him because you know how people are like one hit wonders, blah, blah, blah. This man's everything he put out was like fantastic.
And he like put in the work. I guess I didn't realize like he had released albums with his brothers. He released 5 solo albums before he became big.
Oh, see, I did not know that either.
Yeah, Off the Wall was his 5th solo album.
So he put in the work.
Yeah, he releases Thriller, which is the best selling album of all time. I'm sure every single one of us can picture the music video for Thriller. It wasn't just a normal music video, it was like a movie. Michael Jackson makes the moonwalk legendary, and he's not just a star anymore, he's the king of pop.
Because he's such a performer. Like, when everything that I've ever seen of his, you are drawn to him. It's not just him singing in his voice, you're drawn to him.
Yes. Throughout the 80s and the 90s, all his milestones stacked up. He released Bad. He had massive world tours. He released a best-selling autobiography. He purchased Neverland Ranch. He performed at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Can I interject a personal story real quick?
Yes.
Do you remember when Dad would get mad at us and he would tell us he would send us to Neverland and we would cry and like be really upset?
Yes, whenever we did something wrong, he'd be like, you're gonna go to Neverland Ranch. And we'd be like, no!
It was either that. It was either that or the Polish Springs on a water bottle.
Yes. If you ever drank a Polish Springs water bottle, we were threatened to be sent there all the time.
Both probably great places to visit.
Not in our little minds. They were the worst places in the world.
Sorry, go ahead. He performed the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Michael Jackson then married Lisa Marie Presley. They were only married for about a year and a half. And then shortly after, he married Debbie Rowe and had 2 children with Debbie, Prince Michael and Paris. And then their marriage did not last very long either. And they got divorced, I think, within 2 to 3 years. He did have another child with a surrogate who was also named Prince Michael II.
I didn't know that.
But we know him as Blanket.
Oh, that's why. That's why. I was going to say I didn't know they had the same name. Oh, and I'm sure relationships are hard to have when you have that level of fame. Like, that's got to be so hard.
And then, with the fame comes the tabloid headlines, the controversy, and eventually criminal allegations that led to a 2005 trial where Michael Jackson was acquitted. But by the late 2000s, the spotlight had changed. He was no longer touring. He was actually in a super big amount of debt, very big. And also his health was kind of going back and forth. Remember, he got diagnosed with the vitiligo and started kind of trying to change his skin so that way it wasn't so patchy. He actually like got burnt on stage and had to have his like scars reconstructed. He had his multiple nose jobs.
I was gonna say, wasn't there a rumor his nose fell off?
Yeah,
Did that happen?
let's look it up.
The man's been through it.
Yes. It did not literally fall off, but it was severely damaged and reconstructed due to numerous cosmetic procedures.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, Michael made an announcement that shocked the world. He was coming back. He was going to do a massive comeback concert series in London called This Is It. And it was going to be 50 shows and a final curtain call that was probably going to lead to his retirement.
That would have been like the Eras tour on crack. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine? Like, all the people who grew up with him are like, we're going to that. And it would be the most insane thing in the whole entire world.
Fans were ecstatic, but Michael never made it to opening night.
Oh.
On June 24th, 2009, he was in rehearsals for the This Is It tour, and they wrapped around midnight. And witnesses said he was focused, he was energetic, he hugged dancers as he left, thanked the whole crew, and told everyone goodnight. And he returned to his home. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was already there.
At the home.
Yes, at the home. Michael complained that he couldn't sleep, which is something that he struggled with for years. So Murray administered some medications that also included propofol. Propofol is a powerful surgic anesthetic. It's not supposed to be for home use or for sleep.
Don't love that.
Hours later, Michael was found unresponsive. The paramedics were called and they arrived, and he was in cardiac arrest and was not breathing. The paramedics rushed him to the UCLA Medical Center, where doctors tried to revive him for over an hour. But at 2:26 p.m., Michael Jackson was pronounced dead. He was 50 years old.
Oh, so young.
2 months later, the autopsy was released and it confirmed that there was a lethal combination of propofol and sedatives, and his death was actually ruled as a homicide.
Oh.
Dr. Conrad Murray was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 4 years in prison.
4 years?
Yeah. That's a different story for another day.
Yeah, that seems a little wild.
Yeah. This is where the case is closed, and or where on a true crime podcast, we'd normally dive into the case and all that stuff. But no, not today, because this case is not closed for everyone.
Yeah.
Because for some fans, this is not where Michael Jackson's story ended. It's actually where it begins.
Oh, chills.
Almost immediately, theories started spreading. What if Michael Jackson didn't die? What if he staged everything? It sounds absolutely wild, but believers say that there are clues. So we're going to go over some of those clues.
I cannot wait. And I feel like there are like certain celebrities that everyone says this about. So like maybe they're all just hanging out together. That would be so cool.
Yeah. So for example, just 6 months before his death, a tabloid claimed that he only had 6 months to live.
What?
Was that a coincidence? Or were the people involved in staging Michael Jackson's death planning a narrative that was getting people ready for Michael to die?
Yeah. Or like if, right, it's a tabloid. So like people can call in. Did one of Michael's people call in like, hey, put this out there. He's going to be gone in 6 months.
Especially because rehearsal footage from just days before Michael's death shows him dancing intensely, nailing complicated choreography. He doesn't look frail. He doesn't look sick. He doesn't look like somebody who's going to die in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
TMZ also reported his death incredibly fast. TMZ reported his death before there was an official confirmation of his death.
How would they know?
So That's exactly what fans were. How did they know so soon? Did somebody on Michael's team call them and leak the news so that way it would get out faster?
Had to have.
Hmm. Paris Jackson later tweeted, "If you only knew the truth." So conspiracy circles interpreted this as a hidden message.
Well, there's definitely something deeper there, right? Whether she's saying if you only knew the truth about this doctor, if you only knew the truth about what my dad was going through, if you only knew the truth about how he really died, if he really died. You know what I mean? Like there's so much you can go
Yes.
from this.
Yes, it's very cryptic, but a lot of people say Paris was saying what it was. Another thing that people point at is the autopsy listed his weight at 136 pounds. But if you do look at the videos of him rehearsing just days before, a lot of people insist that he looks much thinner than 136 pounds.
How tall was this man?
He was tall.
Was he?
He was like very skinny. He's five. Oh, I guess he's short. He's 5'9", but still
But still 136 pounds on a 5'9" man would be thin.
very thin.
So if he was looking thinner than that, I feel like that would mean he was looking very, very unhealthy.
Yes. There's also a lot of details about the day of his death that people point to. The ambulance left Michael Jackson's house without any lights or sirens on. So people are saying if this was a real medical emergency, why would they not have the lights and sirens on so that way they could hurry to the hospital?
100%. And you said, I think you said earlier, remind me if you didn't, that they were trying to revive him at the hospital for like an hour or something.
Yeah.
So there would be lights and there would be sirens. So I agree with that theory.
This one is very weird to me. Neverland Ranch had an extensive security system. And when they went to check the security footage for the night that Michael Jackson died, that whole night is just missing.
Okay. That's very weird. That's very weird. Whether it's mean he isn't dead, which would be awesome, or it was an inside job and someone wiped all that footage because there was proof of that, which is literally terrible.
Yeah.
Because that don't happen.
That to me is the one that's like the actual weirdest. I'm like, wait a minute. Why?
And you know he had to have like security teams and things like that. So it feels like they would only do that if Michael said to.
I'm not saying either way. I'm just saying it's super strange. Also, Dr. Murray found Michael Jackson at around 12 p.m., but 911 wasn't called until 12:21 p.m. And in fact, Dr. Murray did not ever place the call. Dr. Murray went and got Paris, and one of the bodyguards was the one who ended up coming in and placing the call.
Okay, Dr. Murray. Like,
Dr. Murray also reported that he performed CPR while Michael was on the bed, which is an ineffective way to complete CPR. And when somebody called that out, he changed his story and said it wasn't on the bed, actually.
I was just going to say that's so stupid for a doctor to perform CPR on a bed. And I am CPR certified, but it's not like, I am a doctor. He's a doctor. He would know not to do that on the bed. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And it could be that he was like, oh, I messed up and I gave him too much and I'm freaking out. But you go get his daughter and the bodyguard to come and check and then call the police. You're the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Another detail that I think is just like extremely strange is that on Michael Jackson's death certificate, his legal name is listed as Michael Joe Jackson, but his middle name is Joseph.
And like, from a lawyer perspective, right? Wouldn't it be legally the truth then? Because that's not his legal name.
Just a weird thing.
So, like, technically, just based off that, Michael Joseph Jackson is not dead. Michael Joe Jackson is.
Uh-huh.
My mind's twisting and turning, baddies.
People also point to the fact that he did not have an open casket at the funeral.
Also weird, because if it was just the sleeping pills, why didn't he? He was about to go on a not world tour, but those 50 shows.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously he was looking fine.
A lot of people also point to a picture that was taken by paparazzi, like through the ambulance window when he was in the ambulance. Some people say that he has got an oxygen mask on his face. Some people say, like, why'd they put an oxygen mask on his face if he was already dead? I don't know. Maybe they were still doing it. Some people say that the oxygen mask looks like it's in a weird position and not natural. Some people point to the fact that there's nobody actively completing CPR on top of him. And a lot of people say that he looks different, like his skin looks a little darker in that picture, and his features may not look 100% correct.
Like, it's not him.
Yes. So Michael Jackson was known to often use body doubles.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Also, there is some helicopter footage of when they moved Michael from the hospital to like the coroner's office. And people claim that they see movement under the blanket.
I want to see that.
So, the biggest question of all of this, whether it's he faked his death or not, whatever, is why was the propofol at his house at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some theorists suggest, again, this doesn't have any evidence behind it, but this is what people think, that maybe he took the propofol to slow down his heart rate enough to fake his death.
Oh, like he did it like the Romeo and Juliet way, like the
Yeah.
legit way.
A lot of people also wonder if Dr. Murray was involved. Dr. Murray was actually only Michael Jackson's doctor for like 11 days before he faked his death. And Dr. Murray was involved in some scandals beforehand, which, if Michael was hiring somebody to help him fake his death, maybe, just maybe, he would hire this guy.
This man's was Michael Jackson, world famous Michael Jackson's doctor for 11 days before world famous Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
Is this man rich now? Is he unemployed now? This is going to help my theory, because this man gets no job after that. But if this man's living off the land, for sure Michael was like, I got you, boy.
A lot of people say that Michael was exhausted by fame, the debt, the lawsuits, the media pressure, and he simply wanted out. After all, he once sang about wanting to escape, to disappear, and to be left alone.
Yeah, because you don't get left alone when you're at that level of fame. You don't.
No. And he's been that famous since he was 5.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like, just the fact that there is a photo of him in the ambulance with the oxygen mask. Someone's like outside his home, just like waiting to take photos.
Yes.
Which is terrible, which makes me think, is that why they didn't do the lights? But then again, someone would be actively giving him CPR in the thing. So, like, it's still weird. But, like,
And history does offer one very strange parallel. Elvis Presley,
yeah!
who many also believed faked his death, was the father of Lisa Marie Presley, who later married Michael Jackson.
So she would maybe have that connect.
She would maybe have the formula of what one needed to do to fake their death.
Ravioli, ravioli, give
me the formula.
Michael went to his ex. Same it.
Now, his brother, Jermaine, also did an interview around the time that Michael Jackson was dealing with the convictions and the trial. And he had said that when Michael first got convicted of everything, He said he wanted to put Michael Jackson on a plane to the country of Bahrain if he was
Bahrain?
convicted. I think it's in the Middle East.
I think so too. I think I've heard of it, but I'm very geographically challenged. But why Bahrain?
Well, when asked, like, if you put him on this plane to Bahrain and he got caught, he would be in so much more trouble.
Yeah,
And Jermaine said, oh, he would never get caught.
Jermaine. Was this little foreshadow?
So does Jermaine have a hookup somewhere in Bahrain and he kind of helped his brother get out of Dodge in a place where no one could ever find him?
I mean, come on. Like when you have money, you get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. The other thing a lot of people point at is like revolving around his family stuff is that his dad was interviewed shortly after his death. And his dad was kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Family's doing good. And then they were like, and he was like, I mean, we're all grieving Michael, obviously. So, like, did his dad forget to put on the show that he's a grieving dad? Does he know that his son is okay?
Yeah, and his dad was a crackpot anyways, a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Correct me if
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
So could be that. However, usually those like crackpots like can put on a good show. You know what I mean? So like he would have already been putting on that good show. Did he forget to switch that switch?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the reality of it all is there is no verified evidence that Michael Jackson faked his death. Dr. Murray was convicted in court. Medical records were reviewed by multiple professionals. And staging something this massive involving hospitals, paramedics, coroners, family, law enforcement, and the entire world's media would require a lot of people to keep a secret for nearly 2 decades.
Which is very true. But like say those bankrupt claims were fabricated, he would have had the money to do this, in my opinion.
It's very unlikely that it happened, but conspiracy theories aren't really about likelihood. They're about something else, hope. And for many fans, Michael Jackson wasn't just an artist. He was a childhood, he was the memory, he was magic. And maybe believing he's still out there somewhere feels easier than accepting he's gone.
Which is so true and like sad, but I would love to believe that like Elvis, Michael Jackson, you heard this a lot about Mac Miller, Chandler, Matthew Perry, aka they're all just hanging out together.
Yeah.
That would just be lovely to me.
So, Sam, what do you think? Was June 25th, 2009 the tragic end of a complicated legend or the greatest disappearing act in entertainment history? Is Michael Jackson gone or did the king of pop take one final bow and walk off the stage for good?
Oh, I would like to believe that he's still around. Things that like my pessimistic brain goes to is like when people are super wealthy, like they do take drugs to go to sleep and get them prescribed from doctors, and you can get these harder drugs. And this doctor was only the doctor for 11 days, maybe didn't know what Michael Jackson could handle. So like that's like my pessimistic side of my brain, but my optimistic side of the brain is like, but he also had the money to probably pay people off and like for his children and him and like all his huge fans. That would be so awesome if that's what happened and he didn't just go too soon because he needed help sleeping, because that is a tragic story.
Yeah, I think the part of me that is very obsessed with this like magical idea of faking your death thinks it is so freaking cool if he did just walk away from it all and said like I'm gonna go live a normal fucking life somewhere because this is too fucking much.
And like, so I know it's like illegal too, this kind of stuff, but like so well deserved because, like you said, since he was like 5 years old, he's been under this microscope.
So it's actually not illegal to fake your death,
A what?
but like if you had fake documents then yes that part is illegal,
Uh,
but it's actually
and like if people collected your life insurance.
only if those people were in on it with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like in Parks and Rec, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. That
Yes.
would have been illegal.
Yes. 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 They were trying to collect. Yes. That would. But if you don't collect your life insurance and you don't get a fake death certificate, if you just like disappear and wait till the 7 years and somebody in your family files, there's actually nothing illegal about faking your death.
Okay, wait. And his death certificate said Michael Joe Jackson, not Michael Joseph Jackson. So there's technically nothing illegal here.
I don't know.
That would have been the smartest thing to do.
Maybe.
Okay, I might be leaning more towards optimistic. Maybe it's just like today's an optimistic day for Sam, but
While the evidence is not good at all, there's just so too many things I think that make you be like, but why?
yeah.
Huh?
But what about this? But what about that?
And I think like before I did this, so when I was reading the book, there's a whole chapter on Michael Jackson's disappearance. There's actually this lady who created a documentary about it. And I literally scoured the internet for this documentary, and you cannot watch it anywhere. Like I was going to buy it, and you cannot
Because maybe there's some
fucking
truth in it.
buy it anywhere. So it was driving me nuts. But while I was listening to the book, I was like, this is so silly. Like Michael Jackson didn't fake his death. I can't believe because the chapter is pretty long on this. I was like, I can't believe they like committed a whole chapter to this. And it was mostly about like her and what she did and how she tried to prove it. So I didn't like have all these little facts. And I was like, there's no way, but this would be fun to do for the podcast. It's something different, something a little bit lighter and more fun. And then as I started researching it, I was like, but maybe.
Wait a minute, I think so.
But maybe.
I hope he's chilling with DB Cooper, margarita in hand on a beach.
Yes. I hope so too. I hope maybe him and Elvis hung out for a while.
Yes, me too. And Mac Miller, lots of people think he faked his own death, and I would be so behind that because
I would be really behind that too, because that was horrible.
devastating.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think so. Tell us what you think, baddies.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Sorry if this was not your vibe. I have ADHD, so I deep dove into fake deaths because that is my current obsession. And I don't know when it's going to end, but I'll stop doing it for the podcast. I promise.
I liked it.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Please follow us wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, and maybe leave us a nice review. We don't have very many reviews, and that's not helpful for other people finding us. So it would be helpful if you did it.
Please.
And also, we are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
You can also send us an email, bloodshedbaddies@gmail.com, with a case suggestion or a story, and just to say hi. Also, our intro music is made by Cousin Vinny. Dropped an album recently. Listen to it. Tell a friend. Tweet your favorite famous person, and tune in next week for a me episode.
And if you ever run out into Michael Jackson in public, tell them about this episode.
Maybe that's how we'll get famous. We'll pop off because one of the baddie listeners found Michael Jackson.
Yeah. You guys can do it. I believe in you.
Woo, go find him.
Okay. Till next time.
Bye.